Hello there YouTube, it's me TFI Wilderness. Welcome to my channel and welcome to this month's end of month bot haul, the bot haul for October of 2023. Right, I've got a nice selection of items I've picked up throughout the month and I will show them to you in chronological order of purchase and yeah, so without further ado, let's get cracking, shall we? So this month something happened right at the beginning of the month. It was NEC Toy Fair on October the 1st. And yeah, now this year obviously, now in the past I've always gone to the NEC Toy Fairs religiously, especially the pre-Christmas one on December 27th, which to me was my last bot buying day of the year, and it was like an annual tradition for me to go to that event and take a bunch of money, maybe an excessive amount, more money to it than what I would have took to a normal NEC Toy Fair, and just spend buy my last couple of bots before the end of the year, and that was my game plan. Unfortunately, this year Barry Potter, the runner of the NEC Toy Fair, has had a bit of hassle with the NEC event. Venue organisers, and they've been giving him a bit of hassle. I think this is largely due to the free car parking arrangement that he has. I think they're getting a bit twitchy, the fact that there's all these hundreds of people that come to the NEC and get free parking when they go to the Toy Fair, whereas all other events they're expected to pay this like 16 to 18 quid blanket car parking charge, which rakes in a lot of income for them. I don't know what the true ins and outs of it was, but basically, instead of the normal 4 NEC Toy Fairs we had this year, we cut it down to 2. So we had one in spring and one in the autumn. Usually it has like one in sort of February, then one in sort of like March or April, and then one in sort of September, October, and then one in December. So this was the last NEC Toy Fair of the year, though when I went into the Toy Fair this time round, they had the usual, you pay at the tables as you're going in, and they had some extra cards they'd made to say that next year there's going to be free NEC Toy Fairs, and the December 27th Toy Fair is going to be back, but we've got to wait over 12 months before that happens. But anyway, this was the last NEC Toy Fair this year, and I decided to take a little bit more money than I usually do because it was the last NEC Toy Fair I'll be doing this year. So I usually take 100 quid, but I took a little bit extra this time. And I didn't spend all of it, but I got some things, and I will show them to you right now. But first things first, got my NEC October 2023 early bird pass sticker that you get when you go in as an early bird customer. So anyway, I went to the NEC, met up with my mate Richard, started walking round. Wasn't such a good. Usually we have a game plan. We usually go sort of round the outside and then we sort of work our way through the middle. We kind of didn't quite do our usual thing this year, and as we was going round, I was trying to pick out various things to buy, and I was kind of hoping that the Geek Station or Geekology would be there, and I was hoping that they would have the latest wave of Legacy Evolution figures in stock to sell. But more on that when I get to them. So anyway, we went round, cased the joint out, went to have a cup of tea with my mate Richard early. I hadn't actually bought anything at that point, so I had a chat with him, and then we wandered around a bit more. Then Richard decided to go off and see some of his mates, and that left me free to wander around and do the things what I wanted to do. So I went back to the Sven at the Geek Station, at the Geekology stall, and had a look at what he got. And I was a little disappointed. He didn't quite have some of the latest things. I asked him why that was, and he says, well, distributors aren't letting it out just yet. So a bit early for him to be getting that sort of stock, but he did have a few newer issue stuff on his stall, and there was one figure on his stall that I looked at and I've been thinking of getting. I thought, hell yeah, I'll get that, and that is this Studio Series Gamer Edition Deluxe Cliffjumper. So obviously they did the Bumblebee version, And now they've done a Cliffjumper repaint, and I decided to get it. I do have the original War for Cybertron Deluxe Cliffjumper, and that's a pig of a thing to transform. It really is. This is a little bit simpler. It's a bit smaller. Yeah, obviously there's some things about this figure that certain people in the Transformers fan community have been moaning and whinging about. Most notably, the beer gut and the fact that he hasn't got anything of a midriff, so to speak. It's just like he's got the chest plugged straight into the crotch, and it's like the proportions are a little off. But actually, I don't think this thing's too bad. The transformation's pretty sweet. Mine pegs in all right, and it's Cliffjumper, and I don't necessarily go for the Bumblebee version. I prefer to have the Cliffjumper repaint. So I managed to get it this time. It's a decent figure. It's got some loose-ish joints, but it's not too bad. It's a decent figure, and I quite like it, and I'm glad that I got it. Then I went round to the other wall, the opposite wall, to my mate King Street Collectibles, or King Street, King Street Collectibles in Wolverhampton. He had his usual sort of arrangement of stuff on his stall. Not much of interest this month, but I was having a route round, and he has like these little trays on the table with full of like little loose bits and pieces in bags. And I was having a route through looking for something interesting, and I found something. I pulled it out, and I thought, what the hell's that? And then I found another one in a different colour. And I said, so what's this thing? So I looked it up on my phone to see what it was. And when I saw what it was, I thought, oh, yes, actually, I think I might want to get one of these. So I decided to go for the Decepticon version rather than the Autobot one. And it's this thing. It's this. And it also comes with this. Now, it's got, Booster X10 on it. And it's a figure that came out as part of the original 2007 Transformers toy line, kind of like a Real Gear type thing, where it turns into a bit of tech. In this case, it's like a little MP3 player, and it comes with the the little earpiece that you stick on your ear. So it's got that, but it's what it transforms into. I thought I couldn't see from it, that it transforms into anything. So, and it was in a bag. But when I saw the pictures of it, I thought, hell yeah. And it wasn't until I got home and messed around with it, I thought, actually, this thing's pretty good. So to transform it, you basically do this. Then you flip that round. And then you pull the feet out. Come on. And there you have it. It's like a condor, almost like a Laserbeak or type, but it's not actually Laserbeak. It's called Booster X10, and the earpiece has got a little thing that plugs in the top. Like so. And then that gives it, like a little weapons pack to fly around and pew pew pew. I think this thing's neat. Like I said, they had the Autobot version, which was in like a pale blue and a silver, but I love this one in this nice deep red and orange. It looks really, really cool. So got this. It wasn't expensive. It was only about 10 quid or whatever it was. So yeah, that's Transformers, the movie toy line, kind of a Real Gear, MP3 player, Booster X10, like a little bird former. That's pretty cool. Then wandered around a bit more. I found another guy selling a lot of used Transformer stuff, and I was looking on his stall, and he had box stuff on the table, and he had some loose stuff in bags underneath. And I had a route through in the bags in the crate underneath, and I found something, and I thought, yeah, I'll have some of that. I asked him how much it was, and he said it was a tenner. Prime Vehicon, Deluxe Vehicon. So yeah, I haven't got this version of the mold. I've got the flying version rather than the car version. And yeah, so can't go wrong with a Prime Deluxe Vehicon. They're really smart little figures, great transformation. It's just an army builder. It's just a minion bot, that the Decepticons had in force in Transformers Prime. But yeah, so I managed to get hold of that. That was pretty neat. And then on the back of his stall, he had this boxed thing, and I saw it and I was looking at it, and then I asked him how much it was. because I saw it had one particular character in which I really liked the look of and kind of wanted. And so he said he had to go on his phone to check out the price, and then eventually he said, "Oh, it's 50 quid." So I thought, yeah, that's all right, I'll buy that. And this is the box. Right, Transformers Universe, Standoff Beneath the Streets, Springer and Ratbat. So you've got the two figures there, and they're repaints of Cybertron figures. You've got Springer's a repaint of Cybertron Evac, and Ratbat's a repaint of Cybertron Sideways. But when I was putting it in my bag, I noticed it had a post-it note on the bottom with the price, so I got it. I paid 50 quid for it, so I got it £5 cheaper, and I thought, well, that's really good. Now, wasn't until I got home, until I opened the box. I mean, the figures were rattling around inside. I can hear some loose bits inside, so I didn't think nothing of it. I didn't bother to check it while I was while I was buying it. I didn't bother to check that everything was in there. My mistake. So then I get home and I start opening it out and start getting the stuff out. And the first figure I pull out is the Springer. Come on. Right, so there he is. And then I rooted around in the box, and then I thought, where's his rotor blades? And then it was like, oh no, not again. My heart sank. The rotor blades are missing. They're supposed to go on here because it's got like a rotor pack, and the rotor blades are missing. And I thought, oh no. Not again. Because I've got a Cybertron Evac, but he's incomplete. He's missing his rotor blades, and he's missing his Cyber Planet key, sort of weapons pack as well. And I got this off a car boot sale for about £1 or something like that. And he's a decent bot. He's a great robot, but he can't transform into a helicopter because he's missing that vital spinny part that forms his helicopter mode. So I've had that sitting on my top shelf in my room since I got it. And I thought, well, it'd be nice to get a complete one. And this one isn't complete. It's missing the rotor blades. And, I couldn't believe my luck. I was gutted, absolutely gutted when I found that out. And I thought, not again. So I thought, well, it's going to be virtually impossible for me to get hold of some replacement, rotor blades for this or my Cybertron Evac, because I've tried looking before, and whenever you put in a search for Cybertron Evac, you only get the full figure. It's either complete or non-complete, and there's people selling the full figure. You can't find the spare parts for them, and it's like, so yeah, this thing, it can't transform into a helicopter properly. It's missing its rotor blades. So if anybody out there happens to have a pair of Cybertron Evac rotor blades, be they black or grey, let me know. I'm willing to buy them at a sensible price because I really need them to complete these figures. So yeah, that really upset me. That did. And then there's the other figure that it came with. The reason why I bought it. Universe Ratbat. Now, I quite like Senator Ratbat. I've got the Senator Ratbat molds. I've got the MMC one. I've got that that one that came in that 2-pack with Minor Megatron recently. And this is another one. It's another Transformers mold painted up and called Ratbat. It isn't called Senator Ratbat on the box, but because he has a robot mode rather than a bat mode, I think this works as a Senator Ratbat. And yeah, now this particular mold, I've got the original Sideways mold, and it's a fantastic figure. It's one of the better figures from the. Not that there's anything wrong with the figures from the Cybertron line, but he's one of the great figures from the Transformers Cybertron toy line. And this is that mold, but on playing with it, this mold, this particular version of the mold is worn. It's play worn. It's got loose joints. Things don't peg together properly. It's a little disappointing, the fact that it's not quite as good as I thought it was going to be. But it's a version of Ratbat. It's a repaint of Cybertron Sideways as Ratbat with these amazing sort of purpley colours. And it was the main reason why I bought it. It isn't quite as good as I was hoping it would be, But you know, I've bought it now and I've got him, and it's another, you know, another Senator Ratbat for the molds, well, for the collection. So still, that set, had I known that Cybertron or that, you know, that Springer, that Universe Springer was missing his rotor blades, I probably would not have bought it, because that means I would have been lumbered with a figure that's incomplete and I can't finish it off. So yeah, I was a bit disappointed by that. So only one more thing I bought at the NEC Toy Fair. Wandering around, I can't remember where I got this from. I got it from another stall. Anyway, Energon Hotshot. Now, I almost bought one of these at the TF Nation Minicon in Manchester back in, was it March? I almost bought one of these. There was two sellers there that was selling them. One was selling it at 15 quid complete, another guy selling it for a £5 incomplete. And I was tempted to buy it because I only had like 5-6 quid left, and I think, well, is there anything I can spend it on? And I was looking at this thing and I'm thinking, well, he hasn't got his accessories, so I'm not going to bother with it. And I saw this at the NEC Toy Fair and I thought, you know what, I'm going to go for it. So I bought it. And then I get home and I start messing with it and I think, it's one of them bloody Power Links, Energon Power Links figures, isn't it? I'm not a fan of the Energon Power Links gimmick. Energon as a whole, the cartoon series isn't that great. The toy line isn't that great. You know, I'm not really a fan of it. And I have got a few Energon figures, mostly Decepticons, because the Decepticon figures are far better than the Autobot ones. But the reason I went for this version of Hotshot is because the original Armada one is a bit of a brick. You know, it barely transforms, and it hasn't got much in the way of articulation. So I thought this one would be better, and it's not really. He's got these silly weedy arms. He's got loose joints. He's got chunky legs. He's got no waist to speak of. You know, his hips are a bit weird. He's got some joints are super tight, and it's one of those figures where, you know, it's been engineered around a gimmick. You know, the Power Links gimmick, where, you know, it has that connector port where you plug it in and it becomes a pair of trousers or a shirt, and it's like, yeah, I'm not a fan of that gimmick. So this thing kind of got buyer's regret getting it. I wish I hadn't have bought it now, but I've got it, so it's in my collection. So yeah, I bought him. He was the last thing I got at the NEC Toy Fair. And like I said, I came out of the NEC Toy Fair with a little bit of cash in my pocket. Wasn't a lot, but, you know, I might leave that for next time. So that's the NEC Toy Fair out of the way. Let's move on to the rest of the haul. So then it was like I made a couple of Amazon purchases early on. These arrived the following day on the 2nd, which was a Monday. Obviously, the NEC Toy Fair was on October the 1st, on a Sunday. And yeah, so first was this. Transformers, Rise of the Beasts, Beast Alliance, Weponiser, Arcee, and Cheeor. So yeah, I decided to get this. I'm not really... There's things about the core class Arcee that I'm not really liking, and this version of Arcee has got a better looking robot mode. I mean, you look around, I mean, all the wheels are on her back. She's not too bad, actually. She's all right. Considering it's a toy designed to work with, you know, like an accessory figure like this, it's a bit basic, but actually she's got a decent amount of joints, and she looks pretty good. And I thought I'd have this as my version of Arcee from the you know, Rise of the Beasts. I might get the core class, yeah, I don't know, but this one's a bit big, to be honest, but I'm all right with it. Of course, comes with this Weponiser Cheeor that turns into some sort of a gun sword type thing, and then it just sort of folds out. Into a Cheeor, you know, it is what it is. it's a decent little figure. I quite like it. It's all right. I was thinking about buying this last month, but it sort of rolled over into this month because I ran out of budget back in the last month. So I would have got this last month, but decided to pick it up the start of this month. So there was that. Then a couple of days later, on the 4th of October, another figure arrived from Amazon. Rise of the Beast Mainline Deluxe WheelJack. So yeah, I decided to get this, even though the Studio Series 1 has now been revealed and it looks a little better because it's got, you know, it's a proper licensed VW Alt mode with the big VW badge on the front, which is much better. This one's okay. It's all right. It transforms into, the Pablo TV van. And yeah, I mean, okay, people were a bit upset when they saw, you know, the head sculpt with their massive, great glasses, and yeah, it's not, definitely not WheelJack's head sculpt, is it? But I don't know. Also that scene in the movie when he turns up and it's like, oh, you know, he says something and they say, oh, that's kind of racist, isn't it? It's like, really? You have to bring this stuff into the movies, don't you? So yeah, it's an all right figure. It's reasonably posable. Like I said, I decided to get it, and so far he's my sort of stand-in for my Rise of the Beasts WheelJack in my Rise of the Beasts figure lineup. So that's why I got him. And yeah, and that's that. So then we move on a couple more days to the 6th, and my comic order for the month. I only bought one set of comics this month. There wasn't all the comic related items that I bought this month, but anyway, so I'm working my way through the 200 series now. So I went on to Susanna Carter's website and I ordered a set of 5. So I got the rest of the 205, well, the 200 series, starting with, so this is the finishing off the Time Wars story arc, moving into the Underbase story arc. So we've got 205, then we've got 206, 207, 208 and 209. I haven't read them yet. I'm not going to read them until I get around to, because I'm actually rereading my original comics. I don't know whether I've mentioned this in a previous video. I certainly meant to. I'm doing the reread now because last year I bought back all the 199 comics I had as a kid, and now I've got them all. I'm sitting down and I'm reading through. I've read through about the first. I'm up to issue 110 so far, and I'm going to carry on doing this process as time goes on. So in the evening, sometimes I might get a bunch of them, like 10 comics, and I'll sort of, you know, binge read through sort of 10 comics at a time. And once I've done the 99, I will move on to the 200 series. But I want to buy the 200 series in order of, you know, sort of, you know, a release, and in numerical order, and get through them that way. So yeah, that's the 200 series complete, and I will move on to the 210 series next month. Right, so moving along, then it was my Korean toys, which I've done unboxing videos on, and I've done reviews on them as well. Starting off with Metal Carbot Mega Ambler, and he's okay. He's all right. He's a bit small. I mean, you put him next to a Voyager figure, you know, a Cybertron Voyager, and he's a bit small. He's got a smallish head. His alt mode doesn't look much like a real ambulance. It looks like a futuristic ambulance. They didn't bother to fold his feet away in any way, shape or form in his alt mode. I do like the look of his robot mode. His robot mode looks pretty cool, but it's got a slightly limited articulation. He's got his card weapon with these massive, great sort of like transparent forceps, He's an okay figure. He does have a double ab crunch, you know, so you can crunch back and he can arc backwards as well, because he's got like a double joint on his waist. So yeah, he's got that, I suppose. But the bulky shoulders, got limited articulation on the bulky shoulders, and he hasn't got any other intermediate articulation to speak of. So it's a shame, really. But this toy line, the Metal Carbot toy line, is half decent. They're kind of small for what they are, and buying them from Korea is expensive, so I'm trying to get them as cheap as possible. I am going to buy all the main 12 figures from the series. I'm not going to buy the 13th figure, that blue cop, you know, super powered up blue cop for the finale of the season. Also, was it Sam G that's doing the show? They're uploading the full episodes onto YouTube now, and I'm up to about episode 8. And I'm enjoying the show. It's really, really good, even though I can't understand a word of it because it's all in Korean with no subtitles. But anyway, so I've got hold of him. He's okay. He's not brilliant, but he's all right. And like I said, I'm into the Metal Carbot toy line now. Then both these figures arrived on the same day on the 10th, and then the other figure, I've just done a review on it a few days ago. Hello Carbot, Repos or Lepose, depending on the pronunciation of her name. Very good figure, very big, nice camo, which I think kind of looks a bit like a Mazda RX-8. You might think it looks different, but it's got certain design cues on the alt mode that remind me of a Mazda RX-8. Nice big tall bot, got the usual sort of clicky joints. Now, I noticed something after the review. When I did the review, I did the thumbnails for the thumbnail, the picture, and I did her in the review like that. And it wasn't until I was editing the video that I was looking at the figure and I thought, hang on a minute, what's looks like I've got some hinges here. So I went, oh, yeah, I kind of missed a transformation step. Yeah, so I totally missed these little panels that you fold out to sort of like smarten up her legs. So yeah, because normally, you know, her legs look like that, but then they have this little panel that folds round to expose some more of the robotic bits of her leg. I forgot to do that in the review. So yeah, sorry about that. Yeah, I forgot to do that little transformation step. But again, I transform these things ad hoc. I don't look at the instructions, and it's a nice, easy little step to miss because it's not crucial to the actual transformation of the figure. But yeah, so I forgot to do that. So I've done it now, correcting my mistake in the review. But there we go. So yeah, she's a really good figure. She's very big. They're sort of going back to these sort of like big bots with season 13, which is good because, I mean, they were scaling down for a time. But we'll have to wait and see what happens with that. But anyway, I've got hold of her. She's pretty good. And like I said, those two Korean toys arrived on the 10th. And then we're just sort of rolling on to the last couple of bits of this month. Now, this next one. I'm a bit of a fan of Ultra Magnus, as you may know. I mean, I've got a load of them in there, and I've got some more down here. I've got all the sort of white prime sort of Ultra Magnuses down there, you know, like the G1, and then I've got both the Fans Project armor sets. I've got the Meb Suitor, and I've got the Planet X and the Siege one down there as well. But anyway, a bit of a fan of Ultra Magnus. And just recently, obviously, the new Studio Series 86 Commander Class Ultra Magnus has been coming out. And I was definitely wanted to get it. But I was looking at the price of it being a Commander Class, and it's like over 90 quid to buy, and it's kind of expensive. And when you look at pictures, people doing reviews on it, the actual size of the bot, I mean, yeah, it's a big bulky bot, but it's not really Commander Class size. You know, you put it next to Commander Class Jetfire, and it's like that. And so I didn't want to pay full price for it. I wanted to see if I could get it slightly cheaper, and I'm sure if I'd have waited, you know, I could get it a lot cheaper further down the line. But I wanted to get it, you know, fairly close to its release, and so I mean, obviously they got it on Hasbro Pulse for, what was it? Was it $91.99 or $92.99? Kapow were doing it for was it $89.99, but they were sold out. I think it was the same similar sort of deal with In Demand. So I thought, well, where else can I try? So I looked around, and then I found Comics and Cocktails. Now, I did this purchase like literally at midnight. I was laying in bed, and I remembered. I thought, oh, I wonder if Comics and Cocktails have got Ultra Magnus in stock. So I was lying in bed. I went on my phone. Sure enough, they were doing it for like £84.99. I thought 85 quid. I thought that's near enough. So I went boosh and I bought it, and it was like 2 minutes after midnight when I placed the order. So it was like stupidly late or early, late at night or early in the morning. So yeah, so I made the purchase, and it arrived. It arrived on the 14th. There he is, Studio Series Command 86 Commander Class Ultra Magnus. Now, when I first got it, I wasn't as excited about it or impressed by it when I first got it and started messing with it. But since then, I've transformed it a bunch of times, and it's grown on me quite a lot in the last couple of days. And yeah, I do like it a lot more. It's a really good figure. It's got the thing where you just open his chest and it springs open to show the matrix. He's got epic light piping, absolutely epic light piping. Yeah, it's a really good figure, and I got him, and I'm quite impressed with him. So he's really good, and he arrived on the 14th. And then we're just winding down now. Just got the last couple of things to get through. I bought my comics earlier in the month, and but I was thinking, I didn't have much money left towards the end of the month, and it was like, now what can I spend it on? And I thought, well, annuals. Now, you've got the Transformers comics that came out, the Marvel comics which came out in like the 80s, sort of mid-80s through to the 90s, but they also did the annuals as well, and I never had any of the annuals when I was a kid. Now, I have got one of the annuals that I managed to pick up at a car boot sale. I think is it the 1986 annual I've got? But there is others, and I wanted to get the rest of the annuals. So I went on to Susanna Carter's eBay site again, and she was doing a bunch of the annuals, and I bought one of the annuals, and on the 21st it arrived. So I've got the 1987 Transformers annual. I haven't opened it yet, I haven't read it yet, but yeah, got that epic picture on the front of Galvatron and Ultra Magnus battling away. One of the best things about the Marvel G1 comics was that epic, or that the battle between G1 Ultra Magnus and G1 Galvatron in Target 2006. I absolutely love that, and obviously it got it on the cover of the annual because it was a big deal back in the day. So yeah, and so that's the second annual that I've got. I will be getting the other annuals in time, but I'll just buy them ad hoc as and when I've got a bit of money to spare. But I'm mainly concentrating on buying the comics. So I got the annual. And then one last thing that arrived. Now, it's something an order I placed earlier in the month on AliExpress for a little figure. I mean, this figure's come out recently. They do a number of different repaints of it, and I decided to go for the toy coloured one, and it's from a company called Dr. Wu, and he's doing his own little sort of like line of miniature figures which are smaller than Legends. They're like more like like Legion scale figures, I suppose, or maybe even smaller than that. And I've got a couple of them, and they're really good. But this figure is he like steps it up a notch. And having bought one of the biggest Ultra Magnus toys this month, I've also bought one of the smallest. So this is Dr. Wu DWE 23T Tactical Commander toy colours. So this is the toy coloured one, and this thing is absolutely awesome. It's so tiny. But it pretty much does all the things you'd want it to. There are certain, how can I put this, certain compromises with the engineering that had to be made for it to work, to get it to work in this scale. But I'm prepared to accept that. I mean, obviously it hasn't got a waist joint, but it's got pretty much all the other articulation you could want. And it's a white prime Ultra Magnus as well. It's got a white prime inside. So, yeah, that might not please some people. But I'm okay. I don't mind my Ultra Magnus to have a white prime or not a white prime. It doesn't bother me. Ultra Magnus is a character that I've liked the look of in all its different guises, be it the G1 or the one from Prime or the RID Ultra Magnus, who's an absolute badass. And then you get, other versions of the character. But, yeah, I like Ultra Magnus, and I got this one, and this one's absolutely awesome. I really love this little thing. It's so intricate, but it's really, really cool as well. And actually, having bought one of the smallest Ultra Magnus this month and one of the biggest Ultra Magnus this month, it got me thinking, what if I was to take or dig out all my G1 style Ultra Magnus figures and then stack them on top of one another in alt mode to see how high I could get, how many I could stack on top of one another without them toppling over. And this is the result. Yeah, so I've got my Tower of Magnus, where I got 9 of my Ultra Magnus figures and put them in alt mode and stacked them on top of one another. Absolutely crazy. It was like a harebrained thing that just occurred to me, and I decided to do it. And it took a bit of organising to dig all the figures out from the various places. Like, I had to get some of them out of my Detolf, like my Combiner Wars one and my Magic Square one had to come out of there. Oh, and the Titanium had to come out of there as well. And there's a few I had to dig out of the loft. But it was quite fun to just balance them on top of one another and get like this massive great Tower of Ultra Magnuses. Now, is anybody out there can do any better than 9? Has got more than 9 G1 style Ultra Magnuses in alt mode that they can stack on top of one another? I'm sure you could get a couple more in there if you tried. But I've managed 9. Anybody else can do better than that, they're welcome to try. So yeah, so that's my haul for this month. It's quite a short one. I managed to whip through it quite quickly. Yeah, so it's that thing. The end of the month, the first and worst, where I pick the best thing and the worst thing that I got, and I put them up in front of the camera, and I show you what's what. Now, the first is, it's kind of a toss-up between 2 figures, and the worst, again, there's a couple of figures that it could be. Now, the first figure, I've decided to a break from the norm. Instead of having it as one figure, I'm going to have it as one character. So I've decided to do this. First and worst. So yeah, I've decided that I'm going to give the first to both my Ultra Magnus figures this month, because they're both really, really good. I mean, if I had to say to give it to one, it would be the Doctor Wu Tactical Commander, because he's so small and cute and intricate. It's just an amazing figure. But that doesn't take anything away from the Studio Series 86 Ultra Magnus, which in itself is also a really good figure. So I've decided this month, the first bot or the first place for the best thing I got this month is going to be the character of Ultra Magnus rather than an individual figure. So both these guys qualify for the character of Ultra Magnus from the first bot I got this month. And then the worst is Energon Hotshot. Again, it's a Power Links character, and This figure isn't as good as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be an improvement over the the Armada Hotshot, and it is and it isn't. It's got plenty of wear and tear on it, and I decided, yeah, this is possibly the least favourite or the worst thing that I got this month. So that's that. So there we go. Yeah, slightly unusual ending to this video with me giving my first bot to 2 figures rather than 1, but it is the same character, so that's why I'm doing it that way. And yeah, that's been my haul for this month. Kind of an interesting haul, as you can see. I mean, obviously I went to the last NEC Toy Fair of the year and picked up a few interesting bits and bobs. And then I got my Korean toys, and then some Amazon purchases, and then all the other stuff, my comics and all that stuff. So yeah, so there we go. I've managed to get this video done in 40 minutes, which is unheard of for me. So it's really a short one, but that's been me, TFR Wilderness. Hopefully you enjoyed this video, and I'll catch you all next time. Ta-da.
If you wish to leave a record of your call, please state your message at the sound of the tone. Please state your message at the sound of the tone.